To perform the squat, your body needs to be quite mobile. Here are some warm-ups to help get your body ready for squats. You're going to need a foam roller and a resistance band. We're going to start with stretching out the glutes. What we want to do is stick one of our legs out and we're going to roll up and down on the roller. One hand on the side to help keep balance. Your other foot here will also help you keep balance. What we're looking for is specific areas that sort of stick out and send sort of a warning that there's an issue there. So once we find a sort of a pain spot, take a big breath, lean into it and roll through it. We're going to perform this movement, again making sure you get the full length of the glute. Once we've done that for a period of about 30 seconds, we're going to stick our leg up on our other knee, and the direction that our knee is pointing, we're going to push it down, and again, you're going to get stuck into the glutes. Having the foot up on the knee just helps expose the glute a bit more, and you can get stuck into those areas that are giving you a bit of grief. After performing this, we switch sides and do exactly the same thing. Arm again, down, supporting, rolling the full length of the glute, getting stuck into those targeted areas. Once we're happy with that, again, foot goes up. The key here is the way that knee's pointing is the way that you'll rotate down. Pushing down can help. So we're going to perform this movement for about a minute each side, and then once we're happy, we can move on to the hamstrings. Okay, so we're already sitting on our roller. The next step we're going to take is both hands behind our back. Ideally, it's one foot over the other, but if we can't support ourselves, I'm happy to have one leg down. We're going to roll the length of the hamstring. This is how you do it the assisted way. Again, ideally, one over the top. Now the hamstring has 3 muscles, so we need to make sure we pay attention to each length. So I want you to rotate kind of inwards and outwards, hitting the full length of the hamstring, right from below the knee to near the glutes. Now to target the outside, what I do is I move to the center of the roller, put both my hands on this side and slightly rotate over. Then again, we're gonna roll the length of the leg. Performing the movement for, again, about a minute, minute and a half, really depends on how tight your hamstrings are. Once we've done this, we're going to switch over to the other side and do the same thing. Again, rotating inside, get the inside of the hamstrings. Once we're happy with that, 2 hands over the side. And again, hitting more of that outside hamstring. Once we're finished with the hamstrings, we're going to flip on over and work on our hip flexors and adductors. To roll the hip flexors and adductors, this is how we start. We place the roller down in front of our leg that we're going to roll, hand to the side, and then what you're going to do is you're going to bring your leg up, just like this, and we're going to roll in and out of the leg. This area can feel quite tender, so just take it as you can. Once we do that, we want to move all the way in to the groin, the hip flexors, and this is where you might get a bit of a reaction. So you need to find the areas that are giving you grief and triggering up. You're going to be basically pivoting off that back foot to scrub the hip flexor up and down the roller, really getting stuck into it. Rotating the body around at the same time, again, trying to expose the areas to really roll them out. Once we've done this, I want you to bring your foot up like this, just to again, try and give it a different angle to attack it. Once we're happy with this, then basically we come up. We're going to move the roller over, switch legs again, in and out. Working those adductors. And again, moving in to the hip flexors. Foot up, finding the areas that really give you grief. Trying to roll out the knots. Again, raising the foot up in the air just to expose it that little bit more. Once we've done the hip flexors, we can move into the quads. We place the roller down and we're going to bring our leg, place it directly on the roller. Now the area that we're targeting here is just below the hip to just above the knee, making sure you get the full length when you roll. Looking for those areas that are triggering. Now with the quad, you've got full muscles, so again, just like the hamstring, you're going to rotate on each side. The inside. Making sure the toe is flat on the ground. Getting each side. After spending about 30 seconds to a minute on this, I'm going to come down, bring our other leg on. Again, from the hip all the way to just above the knee. Rotating each side to try and get every part of the leg. Again, on the inside. Once we're happy with the stretch, we then move on to the back. To put a bit more of the focus on the lats, what we want to do is the same roll, but this time we're going to rotate just a little bit to the side. You should feel it target the lats a little bit more. Again, once we do this for about 20 to 30 seconds, rotate to the other side. And again, hand placement can vary. You can play around with the hands on your stomach or up on the roof, whatever sort of gets you the best stretch and roll. Bands can come in different sizes and resistance ratings. For the beginner, I'd recommend a smaller type band, not too small, but as your mobility and strength increases, you're going to want to head to the larger band. Before starting your band stretch, make sure you find a sturdy place to attach your band to. The first thing we're going to target with the band stretch is the glutes. To perform this, we're going to place one of our legs through the hole. We're going to have it nice and high on the hips. Now for the gents, make sure you watch the fellas. We're going to take a step forward like this, 1 foot forward. Now this is the tricky part. We need to walk our hands over and we're going to fall over our leg like so and kick our back leg back. This is the position that I want you to get into. So you're not sitting down, you're over your leg. Once here, we need to bring our chest down and we're just going to hold this for about 20 to 30 seconds. After this, we're going to move our torso around a touch more. Again, bringing it down, feeling the stretch in the glutes. 20 to 30 seconds. After that, we're going to go all the way over to the other side. Again, coming down, 20 to 30 seconds. It's important to note that people's mobility levels will vary. So you may not be able to get into this position. It may even look something like this. But we want to try and get the foot up as high as we can and just try and get that chest down. The place that we're feeling it is along the back of the legs into the glutes. That's how we know we've got the right spot. So we're now going to move into the hip stretch. Instead of going straight into the other side, we're just going to stretch the whole one side and then move on to the other side. So now we're going to bring our leg forward. So the right leg is forward, the band is attached to the right leg. We're going to be pulsing forward a couple of times. Feeling this right in the hip crease and also on the other leg, the back leg. Once we've done this for about 10 to 20 seconds, I want you to rotate the hips to the left and to the right. This is working our internal and external rotation, and you'll really feel the pinch on the sides. Really hold that stretch on each side. After this, both hands on the ground, walking your foot out to the side, opening the legs up, letting the band pull you open and bringing the hips through. Hand placed on the ground. Moving the knee back and forth. Again, feeling the bone move in the hip socket. Let it pull you open, bring the hips down a little bit more. And then coming back up. And moving on to the next hip stretch. This next hip stretch is very similar to the other one, but this time we're going to switch legs. So the leg with the band will go back. Other leg will come forward. Making sure this is nice and high on the hip. And then hand goes up, that's the same side as the band that's back. You're going to squeeze the glutes, bring your hips through again. You should feel the tingly sort of stretching right where the band is. Pulse forward a couple of times. Reaching up. Really feel the stretch. After about 20 to 30 seconds working on this hip, you can then perform all those glute and hip stretches on your other side. If I still find that my hamstrings are tight after performing those warm-ups, then I'll use this additional band stretch. You wrap it around just above your heel. You're going to lay down with your knee slightly bent. Other foot, leg has to be on the ground. You're going to put a bit of tension on the band. Straighten your leg up. Bend, straighten up. I want to hold for about a second at the top. Bend, straighten. Now, you'll probably feel this in a couple of places. If you're feeling it more behind the knee, then you want to try and imagine your heel is stretching over the top of your head when you straighten. I want it more down near the glutes. So again, bending, straightening, bending, straightening. Another way you can kind of make it feel a bit lower is have your foot angled lower, straighten up here. As your mobility increases, you can have it further back. We're going to do 15 and then we're going to move on to the next side.